Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Entitled Parents Reddit video. In our first story, being hated for being free. Let's jump right in. Hello everybody, new member here. I'd just like to share an experience I've had recently. It's a long read, but one I believe many of you will likely relate to. As a 27-year-old male, I have many friends with children, mostly in the toddler age group, as well as many friends without children like myself. Now don't get me wrong, I love being the fun friend or uncle or friend uncle, lol, but I've always stood firm in my decision not to sire children. To that end, most of my friends with children have grown to accept that, and we just don't bring it up. No cause to, right? I think my friends just expect that one day I and whoever I may be courting will announce a pregnancy, to which end I know they'll be disappointed. But that's okay. See, being a single childless young man, I naturally have quite a bit more freedom in life than my friends with children. I can live life on a whim, they can't. I can roughly predict what the next 2 weeks will hold, they can't. If I want to have kids later in life, I can reverse that decision, would likely adopt, they can't. To that end, most of my friends with children are still wholesome and loving friends. They love to see me traveling to exotic places, and they adore the small trinkets and lengthy stories I bring home with me. One set of friends, however, has shown their true colors lately. See, over the past few years, I've helped them left, right, and center financially. I don't mind because they have mouths to feed and I know how it feels to struggle, so I don't want to see my friends and their children doing the same. The most notable expense was the $1,800 I shelled out to literally buy them a running vehicle. Bear that in mind, that $1,800 will be important later. The friends in question have a 3-year-old together, and the girlfriend has a 9-year-old from a previous relationship. This couple in particular has turned very bitter to me lately, almost as soon as they found out that I'm planning a month-long trip to Brazil in June. My friend's immediate response was disgusted noise. "You should be saving that money so you can buy a house and start a family." I replied, "I have no interest in reproducing and I'm not ready to set an anchor. We've discussed that." And his girlfriend pipes in, "Yeah, whatever. Must be nice to just fly off all over the world. Maybe one day you'll know what it's like to be responsible instead of only thinking about you." Excuse me? Excuse me? I've worked my fingers to the bone to save for this vacation and all my previous voyages, and to that end, I'm not done yet. I've been strictly budgeting my money for over a year to make this happen. I even gave up both cigarettes and soda to save a few more dollars per week. No eating out, no buying video games, basically nothing outside of the essentials. I work more hours per week than both of them combined. Not judging, they have kids to care for, but still, I earned this. And then, for them to act like I'm a lesser man because I didn't accidentally reproduce right out of high school? To me, that was both laughable and pathetic. Now, even at this point, I had chalked it up to, okay, they resent me for it in the moment. I guess I can understand that. Because I know that neither of them has ever gotten to do such a thing, and I do feel somewhat like a jerk that they have to watch me fly off to Brazil knowing they can't afford to do much because, well, raising children is expensive. But then, they take it a massive step further and ask me to borrow $3,000 so they too can do something this summer. She even whipped out her phone and pulled up the resort they wanted to stay at on Table Rock Lake, Missouri. As soon as I noticed she'd entered the info for a 14-day stay totaling $2,400, I realized they had planned to ask for this money all along. I was honestly speechless for a moment. So eventually I said something along the lines of, "Look man, I've been saving for this for over a year. I can't afford to loan any of that money out or I won't be able to afford to go on my vacation, and to be honest, I still have to recoup that $1,800 I loaned y'all before my plans are even back in the green. So I'm sorry, but the answer is no." And they just lost it. "All you single a-holes ever think about is yourself. You have no idea what it's like. We never get to do anything. Some friend you are, you'd rather go off by yourself than help our kids have a good summer. At that point, I simply left without another word. It is clear to me now that all I ever was a piggy bank. In truth, I guess it was my fault for being proud of my frugality and occasionally mentioning my savings like, hey man, I hit $10,000 today, 2/3 of the way there. This all happened last weekend, and even today I received another text. Are you sure we can't all just go to the lake together? The kids really need this. It's not like you can't go to Brazil another time. And this, friends, has been a hastily written and hurtful example of entitlement. Takeaways. Number 1, don't discuss your finances with anyone that isn't directly affiliated with them. Yourself and or your partner, maybe your parents, but not your friends. Takeaway 2, never loan money to friends. Treat it as a gift that you will not see returned. If you do see it returned, treat it as a nice surprise. Story number 2. Entitled mother wants me to let her brats put their hands in my food. My husband and I went out for a quiet dinner on Saturday night. We were sitting at our table when 2 women with 3 kids sat at a table near us. 2 of the kids, boys, looked around 4 or 5, while the older girl looked around 12 and was in her phone most of the time. The younger 2 soon started running rampant in the restaurant while their moms sipped cocktails unbothered. One of the boys approached our table with his hands out, and I can tell he's gonna try and touch my food. I lift my plate up and say, no, please don't touch it. The kid just laughs at me and leaves to run another lap around the room. I see the mothers watch this happening but pretending not to be aware. My husband is not looking too pleased at this point because he predicts a repeat, and that is exactly what happens. The kid tries his food and he does the same thing that I did. The kid then turns to my plate again, and this time I swatted his hand away, lightly and not at all forcefully. The kid starts crying because I wouldn't let him touch my food. The entitled mother is now suddenly all concerned. That was so mean. He's not doing anything wrong. Excuse me, but I don't want anyone else's hands in my food. He's just a kid. It's not a big deal. Not mine, thank you, so I'm not interested in having him touch my food. Please, mind your children. At this point, she's about to say something more, but the server tactfully brought their food and engaged them in conversation. The entitled mother and the other lady kept looking daggers at me all along. I have a strict not my kid, not my problem policy. I am not required to be nice and do extra stuff so that your kids will leave me alone. Story number 3. T-bone steaks are $1 each. So this one happened a number of years back now. I was working the cash one night at a large grocery chain here in Canada. It was a pretty slow night, only a few customers an hour type of evening. I was standing at my register and talking to one of my coworkers when a lady and her kid pull up to my lane and starts unloading her shopping cart that had about a dozen large packages of T-bone steaks. I didn't think too much of it at first, since sometimes people come in with big orders for barbecues. I finished scanning her order and gave her the total, a few $100 as each pack was about $20 to $25. She immediately goes full Karen and yells at me, "You scanned those wrong. They're $1 each." I asked her if she meant the steaks, and she yelled again, "Yes, of course the steaks." I explained to her that steaks are priced by weight and they couldn't be $1 each. She continues to freak out and yell some more about how I'm an idiot and will never amount to anything. I was in college at the time and am a fairly successful accountant now, for the record. Her kid is standing there the whole time looking horrified, but also like they've seen this before. She then yells, "If you're calling me a liar, come and see, and I'll show you they are $1 each." As I said, it's a slow night, so I say sure and follow her to the cooler section. Once there, she points to a sign near the steak cooler and yells, "Look, it says right there, $1 each, or can you not read?" I look at the sign, look back at the woman and say, "Well, ma'am, it does say $1 each. For the bottles of ketchup in the display the sign is clearly hanging off of." She looks at the sign again and realizes her mistake, but yells one more time, "Well, why would you put it so close to the stakes?" With that, she stormed off. To this day, it was one of the most satisfying things that has happened on the job. This is John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to be the first to know when the next one drops, then subscribe and hit that notifications bell. I'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends. See you in the next one.